GettingPositiveKarmaNow.com presents Bhagavad Gita for All, lectures by Nalan Narula, recorded in front of a live audience. Chapter 15, The Yoga of the Supreme Person.
Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shlakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We were on the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga, realization of the ultimate truth. And we had completed 15:14, the 14th text. And the sequence was, Krishna was explaining in detail to Arjuna how he maintains the entire universe and the living entities in it by providing the energy, the nourishment, and the sustenance of all kinds, including in the external universe as the sun, moon, and the earth, and the internal fire of digestion. And then he comes up in the 15th text, after that sequence, with a most memorable, specially memorable shloka. This is something that we can keep meditating on for a long, long time. It is said that in Bhagavad Gita, one shloka can give you the entire knowledge of the cosmos. This is a particular shloka that does that in a most, you can say, infinite way. And that shloka is Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishto Matah Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedescha Sarveraham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Vedavit Eva Chaham. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sanivishto. I am situated, Krishna tells Arjuna, I am situated in the heart of all living beings. And mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes remembrance of the self, of the soul. From me comes all knowledge. And apohanam. And from me also comes the driving away of both. In other words, forgetfulness of these things, of knowledge as well as self-realization, knowledge of the self, remembrance of the self. So all kinds of remembrance and knowledge is coming from Krishna, and the living entity, the Jivasya, is forgetting these according to the individual karma, the actions of the living entities, and he is guiding them to forget and to remember as per the desire and actions of the living entity. This is a very amazing thing. And then he goes on to say, Cha Vedya Cha Sarva Aham Eva Vidya. I am to be known by the Vedas. I am alone the absolute object, knowable object of the Vedas. Aham eva Vedya Vedanta Krit. I am the knowable absolute object of the Vedas. And Vedanta Krit. I am the creator, the originator, the progenitor of the Vedas. Krit means the creator. And in this context, it also means, Vedanta Krit means that I am also the deliverer of the results of Veda. Vedanta. At the end of the Vedas, you have a result, you have a fruit. So that fruit, also it is said that Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the Vedas, Vedanta. It also means the end of knowledge, the end of Vedic knowledge, the conclusion of and also where the Vedas end, the realization begins. That is pure spiritual understanding. So there are many layers to this meaning of Vedanta Krit. And as Vedvyas, the compiler of the Vedas, and he is also, Krishna says, I am also the deliverer of the fruits of Vedic sacrifice, Veda Anta. Vedavit evacha aham, and I am also the knower of the Vedas. The Vedas come from me. So, if we look at the various guidances from spiritual masters who have talked about this, and especially from Sridhar Maharaj, if we look at his expansion of this knowledge and putting it all together, so we can translate this 15.15, Shlok 15.15 from the 15th chapter. I am situated in the heart of all souls as the observing and guiding super soul, and from me arise the soul's remembrance of the self, knowledge, as well as forgetfulness of both. I am the creator of the Vedas, and I alone am the sweet absolute to be known through the Vedas. As Vedvyas, I am the compiler and revealer of the conclusion of the Vedas, the Vedanta, and I am also the knower of the Vedas. This is a very multi-layered statement. If you go back to chapter 7, which is about the absolute truth, if you look at text 21, 22 and 23, Krishna is talking about how he makes the faith in those who follow the demigods firm according to the way they wish to worship. In 21 and 22 he says that, and immediately after that he says those who follow the demigods are alpamedasan, of small intelligence, because they are looking for temporary minor benefits which will fade, which are bound to end, but they are not looking for the permanent solution. So it is like a band-aid. It doesn't help much. So he is saying those who know who I am, those people approach me. Chaturvarnam maya ashritam guna karma vibhagasa. He has divided the four qualities, the four ashrams, and those who know bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So a person who is in true knowledge of these four types, who come for four types of reasons, including the Gyan reason. The true Gyani is that one who knows, in fact, in essence, essentially, who Krishna really is, and that he is Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva, Krishna, the creator of all things, the super soul in every living entity, in the heart, as well as the creator of the entire universe. So he is there at the center of every atom as the Vishnu form. He is also there in the heart as the Vishnu form of every living entity. Not in the physical heart, but in the heart of the soul. So again, the translation for 15:15 is, I am situated in the heart of all souls as the observing and guiding super soul. So he is not only observing, but he is giving you the results. He is telling you, do like this, because this is what you wanted to do, this is what you prepared for in your previous understandings of what you want to do with life. You wanted to forget me, so I will give you forgetfulness of me. You wanted to forget who you really were, fine. So you are under some illusion of and delusional state of Maya, which is the superior separated energy of Krishna, the three material modes of nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. So these three modes of nature are meant for you to forget as well as to remember. So there is a shlok in the Srimad Bhagavatam that reflects this understanding, and that is Satvikani eva sevata puman sattva vivriddhaya tato dharmas tato jnanam yavat smriti rapohanam. So this is from the 11th canto, the 13th chapter, the 6th text. This is the information being given to Uddhav. This is part of what is also known as the Uddhav Gita, the most high knowledge beyond what was given to Arjun. But this is repeated here in a slightly different way. Apohanam, the word is apohanam. Apohanam is translated as forgetfulness, but actually what it means is to drive away. Apohanam means to create a distance between. So here is the meaning is yavat smriti apohanam, that your memory of who your eternal identity is driven away, the illusory identification with the material mind and body. So this shlok was that until one is getting and reviving the direct knowledge of the spirit soul, driving away the illusory identification with the material body and mind caused by the three material modes of nature, one must cultivate those things in the mode of goodness. By increasing the mode of goodness, one automatically understands and can practice religious principles, spiritual principles, and by these practices, transcendental knowledge is awakened. So this is a very powerful confirmation. We have it going back in the 7th chapter of the Gita, and then if we go to the Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, which is a very powerful statement by Krishna to explain to Arjun in the sequence of the Bhagavad Gita. But here we have Tato Dharmas Tato Jnanam Yavat Smriti Rapohanam from 11.13.6 of Bhagavatam, that from following these principles, in especially the mode of goodness, then one is fixed in that realization, and from that comes Jnana, from that comes Smriti, and Apohanam. In this context, it drives away ignorance. So Jnana and Smriti, Jnana of who you really are, the remembrance of who you really are, the knowledge is Jnana, and remembrance is the realized knowledge. It can start even as a theoretical knowledge. So Smriti means to reawaken your memory, reawaken your realization, and that comes from following as much doing things in the mode of goodness rather in the mode of passion and ignorance. So if we remember from our studies earlier, where Krishna had defined what does the mode of goodness do for you. The mode of goodness is when you associate with it, it is creates a lot of satisfaction and happiness. It does not necessarily create a lot of wealth, but it creates spiritual wealth. The mode of passion is where you are working to get results, the fruitive activity, karma yoga aspect of it. So a little bit of karma yoga and mostly mode of goodness, that is the tinge that we need to have in our lives, that we do not need to endeavor excessively, but we need to cultivate the mode of goodness. So associating with those who are on the path of the mode of goodness, those who are properly placed, the sadhus, and not the miscreants, of which we have many examples who are pretending to be sadhus. They are coming up every day. So ultimately, because of so much deterioration and falsity of people claiming to follow the official path, it is probable that in future only the nuts and bolts of spirituality will be left, which is the machine language of karma and spirituality, which is Reiki and similar energies, and people will divorce themselves from religiosity as is known, because it is deteriorating steadily. People are losing faith in it, and people are not sure which is the right place to be. So ultimately they will come down to the essentials of it, which are possible only to experience with the universal life force energies, which Krishna says that there is great joy and happiness and satisfaction in that. In the previous chapter conclusions, he had said that this universal life force energy, the impersonal Brahma energy, is a place of great joy and satisfaction and happiness. So that is Reiki, actually, or the Brahmin connection. So when one is connected to those energies and one is chanting the Maha Mantra, there is an instantaneous upliftment into beyond the mode of goodness. Then you go into Shuddha Sattva, not just Sattvic, but beyond Sattva, which is Shuddha Sattva, purified mode of goodness, which is spirituality. So if we remember that at any point in time, we chant Hare Krishna, we do our healing. The technical procedure may not be instantly available in many cases, but you can always chant the Maha Mantra, which is the way to go. That is the conclusion. So this is a very, very powerful shlok. This continuity and this sequence is extremely enlightening and enlivening, and it should be meditated on. I will put this particular section up on the Bhagavad Gita page because it is very important. We are running behind in posting the updates of the lectures, but I will just put a short, just the translation and the word-to-word meaning, so you can actually look at it and meditate on this. And as and when time is there, maybe I'll put this up ahead of time, because I believe this is a very, very key statement built on so many things that Krishna has explained up to this point in time. And there is so much satisfaction in knowing this, there's so much happiness in knowing this, that I think it should be put up on the Bhagavad Gita page. And I will do that most likely today sometime, so you can listen to it. Perhaps I'll put up this lecture also out of sequence. So I will pause here today at 15:15. Sarvasya Chaham hridi sanivishto mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavit eva chaham. I am situated in the heart of all souls as the observing and guiding supersoul, and from me arise the soul's remembrance of the self, knowledge, as well as forgetfulness of both. I am the creator of the Vedas, and I alone am the sweet absolute to be known through the Vedas. As Vedvyas, I am the compiler and revealer of the conclusion of the Vedas, the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas, and of course, deliverer of results that follow Vedic procedure. So, Vedvyasji was the empowered Shakti-Avesh avatar of Krishna, given special potency. And he was the father of Shukadev Goswami, who spoke the Bhagavatam the second time. And it is said that Shukadev means parrot, and Shuka. And it is said that just like the mango is touched by the beak of a parrot, then it ripens very beautifully. And so the Vedas are the ripened fruit. The ripened fruit of the Vedas is the Bhagavatam, because it was specially made nectarian due to Shukadev Goswami having spoken it. So this was Parikshit Maharaj had 1 week to live, and so then he asked, what is a man who is facing death, what should he do? So that was the second time that the Bhagavatam was spoken. The first time was at Naimisharanya. So we will conclude here at chapter 15, text 15 of the Bhagavatam. And if there are any questions, we will take a few questions now. Yes, please go ahead.
Over the years, when we got initiated with Reiki and following with JQ, in the beginning there was a lot of attachment towards the religion.
Right.
Then slowly and slowly that started to diminish. And now that we just read this, somewhat says the spirituality really is not the religion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spirituality is the doing of what the religion wants to find. Religion is the search and spirituality is the doing of that. So one is science, the other is research. So this is research, actual doing of the science, the spirituality.
So the research would be more like a path which one follows.
Which is this, that those who understand the Vedas, the conclusion of the Vedas have many parts. There is the Karam-Kand section which Lord Krishna was referring to in chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, that when you follow those procedures, follow the demigods, those are also given in the Vedas, how you should approach them. But he's saying the people who do that are of lesser intelligence. So it is, the Vedas are meant for a broad spectrum of the entire consciousness of the living entities. So those who are wanting to have faith in the demigods out of fear, basically, and greed, there is a provision for them to progress. But it takes many lifetimes. So the fast track method is you go directly to the spiritual end point, which is Vedanta, the end of the Vedas, which is Krishna. Go directly to that point. Jnanvan. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate. So those who are, after many, many births, thousands and millions of births, there are many who are jnanis, and out of millions of those, one or two will come to this point. So it's a very rarefied atmosphere at the upper level in terms of the general population. But if you look at the universal cosmic population, there are millions in that zone. Billions, trillions, uncountable. But amongst the society that you have or you are living in, there are very few. So those few will make it. If you are sincere in your desire and you are working in the mode of goodness, Krishna is in your heart. He can tell when you are cheating and when you are not. You may not be able to tell. But He knows. So when you find some genuine desire or you find some genuine spark is happening, then He is very happy to push you along even beyond your karmically inherited capability. So He will give you more even, because He wants to encourage you. So therefore you have people getting very enthusiastic and then slipping back again somehow, because they are slipping back into the mode of ignorance. This process continues. So it's a cyclical process. It goes on, and you will waver between many. In the previous shlokas, Krishna has said that these three material modes of nature are always struggling inside. The living entity is struggling with these three modes, because sometimes the mode of goodness is overpowering ignorance and passion. Sometimes passion is overpowering goodness and ignorance. And then sometimes ignorance will overpower the other two of knowledge and goodness and passion. So it depends where you are at a particular given time. So this is cyclical. But if you stay with the process throughout, you are safe, because you are going to get out of it eventually. So the point is of staying with the process. Point is to understand where is your ultimate highest interest beyond this body's lifetime. In this lifetime, you've had many, many different bodies. Your consciousness and your soul has traveled through many different bodies. We have established this sufficiently in the past, scientifically also giving you the evidence of the biologists, the scientists talk about cellular biology and so on. So your body is not the same. Your karma doesn't attach to your body. It attaches to your consciousness and your soul eventually. So this is the amazing part. If the karma was attaching to your body, then it should finish at the end of this. But because in your life you are finding a lot of events take place which you have no direct connection with in initiating. There are some events like that. So where are they coming from? They are coming from previous body and the consciousness in that body that did certain things, and those events are now ripe to give their results, so you get them. Along the way, Krishna will guide you also. You do this action and 10 years later it will come back and bite you. Okay? So that also happens. Right now you think you've gotten away with it. No, you don't. You can't get away with it. It's not possible. So all the badmashi you've done is waiting for you to catch you. And then when we get caught, we say, I'm very innocent, I didn't do anything. All frauds, totally. Cheaters. So then you will go and find some cheater guru who will encourage you. and you will get into a deeper situation. So we have so many happening all the time. And yesterday people were pointing out they're all starting with the name Ram, or they have Ram somewhere in their name. So all the cheaters are sitting there with this saying, I am, devotee of Lord Ram. But their actions are anything but what Lord Ram demonstrated. So this is something that you have to consider, how I should act. Study what is the mode of goodness, what are the mode of goodness things. And try and take your decisions through the wisdom chakra, the higher chakras, the third eye, upper, heart and upper. These are the higher chakras. So it doesn't mean sentimentality. It doesn't mean helpless giving up of something. But actually understanding what you need to do in life. How you need to deal with people. And particularly we have where the relationship issues are there, you talk about somebody did something bad to you, but they were only the courier of your karma. Then you are sitting there, this fellow is so bad. It's your karma he delivered. You created a stinky package long time back, and the stinky package has come to you today, and now it's malodorous. So now you got to not douse it with perfume, but you got to clean yourself. You have to clean yourself by chanting the Maha Mantra to cleanse the mirror of your mind, and not just cover it up with perfume. It's like decorating a dead body which stinks, and then you're putting perfume and ether and all those things and dressing it up and say, look at this beauty. So
the reference to remembrance and forgetfulness is not really about material, but more about the divine.
Yes, it is about your true status, because that is knowledge.
Understanding.
Material is relative knowledge. It is also, that is also coming from him. So if somebody is very brilliant about something or has a special talent, Krishna said earlier, I am the talent in anyone. Anything you do well, it's because of me. You can't do it on your own.
So
everything is borrowed. Everything is borrowed. It's his God's gift. It is borrowed. It is not a gift. He is helping you along. It's like you are assuming, it's like a little child when the father is driving the car, he's sitting in the father's lap and having the hand on the steering. I'm driving, So it's like that. So actually Krishna is driving and you are just there for the ride. That's how it works.
So it's only our consciousness that in all these lifetimes, that's what we needed to purify.
Yes, you have to cleanse the mirror of your mind, which is your mind and your consciousness and the false ego. Ultimately, it is the ego position. So the actions of the ego, which are generated by the desires of the soul, are creating the problem. So soul is a little one step behind, but it is connected to the soul because the soul has to accompany the consciousness. So when there is more of the soul consciousness happening, that happens in the mode of goodness. So more are your actions in the mode of goodness. So it feeds off each other. If you are actually purifying your false ego, purifying your consciousness in the mode of goodness and beyond, then more of the soul power is revealed. The more your soul begins to shine through. The soul has nothing to learn except the ego has to unlearn. The soul is all knowledgeable, but it has got into a trap. And that trap has formed its own identity as though it's a virtual reality. It's not real. But because of its strong identification with the elements of matter, as well as the modes of matter, material modes of nature, it has developed a different identity. It has an identity, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that, I'm an American, I'm an Indian, I'm a Japanese. These are bodily form understandings. So not that knowledge. The knowledge beyond that is that actually I am the living entity who is traveling in many bodies in this lifetime and have traveled in the past also, which is why I got this present body. What I did in this lifetime also is giving me results in this continuity of the bodies. as I have done earlier, my future bodies are also going to reflect that, as you find in life. As a doctor, you can see that if there are people who are living a particular lifestyle, they are going to have a particular lifestyle disease. Why do you call it a lifestyle disease? Because it is based on the person's action and the way he lives and what he eats and he drinks and so on and so forth. And that is affecting the physical structure of the body. So you can understand it that way, that we are able to reverse many of these just by changing lifestyle also. So the same way that you can reverse this problem of remaining in the material body's life after life by changing your lifestyle. So what is that? You chant Hare Krishna, you do your healing, and you try and work with the mode of goodness, which is knowledge, and which is basically a mode of different from passion and different from ignorance. Passion, as I said, is working on the level of striving for excessive results. Well, not excessive results, striving for results. When they become excessive, and they usually become excessive, that's when the problem starts. So mode of goodness will restrict those results. That is knowledge. The person is in the mode of goodness, he says, why do I need to do this? So this question comes up all the time, especially if you have interests and talents which are in various fields. Why don't you do this? You're very good at this. Yes, I'm good at it. It's a hobby. So then I like to do it, but it's not going to be my profession. So people get diverted. No, this is very good. That fellow did it. My friend is very expert in this. Let me hire him. I have the money. So you're going to fulfill somebody else's dreams rather than your own. And you will always end up having a problem. Always. So you have to be very careful. If you're going to be just sitting back and thinking, I will finance somebody and he'll earn money for me, is very difficult. Doesn't happen usually. Only very special karma is there. But people think, I am very special, so I will have that karma. Okay?
Think about ignorance, passion and goodness. It's like a battle that...
It's a battle that goes on constantly.
That's why I think sometimes I think I'm spinning on a dime. Comes to my head. Actually, it's these three things, and that is why for a long stretch, suppose somebody has given me some pain.
Right.
They will be at the back of my mind. They will not surface.
Right.
I'll be disconnected from them.
Okay.
And then there will come a day when I cannot get them out of my head.
Yes. Yeah. So that's when you're feeling sorry for yourself. And you're saying that, poor me. And, look at how horrible these people are.
Yes.
I am so helpless. So that is in the mode of ignorance. Yes.
Winning at that.
Yeah. So the reason that happens, then you say, I can never forgive them for the rest of my life, or God will never forgive them. I'm God, so I will also not forgive them. So, I attain some godhood when I compare myself like that. But the thing is that if you examine the subject of forgiveness, what is forgiveness all about? Forgiveness means to give up the act of judging. Now, you can't forgive another unless you first look inside, why am I judging myself? So at the background there will be that, I am such a fool. I could have and should have done this. Why didn't I do this earlier? It is all because of that one's fault and that one's fault. But the thing is that if I cannot forgive myself, it is not possible to forgive another. I can only give to somebody what I have. So if I have unforgiveness of myself within me, I cannot forgive the other person. The understanding is twofold in two areas. One is that I must give up the act of judging myself. Therefore, I can forgive the other. The second reason is, by not forgiving the other, I am also eating his pain. Now, why is he in pain? He is in pain also because as the super soul exists within you and the other person, there is an instant networking. He knows he has been the cause of some pain. So the super soul is observing and recording. It's a recording. And somewhere this person, if he has crossed the line of what you were supposed to deliver to you as a courier of your karma, he has crossed that line. He has that ability. Everyone has. Then you pay for it later. So if he has a credit card and he swipes his credit card, I'm going to give you 2 units of pain instead of 1. Then he is due 1 unit of pain back somewhere. So when you are not forgiving that other person, you are also eating his pain. So that is being a non-vegetarian. When you eat an animal, you eat their pain also, because when they are killed, they are having fear and anxiety and pain, and that goes as hormones into their system, chemicals, and it conveys that feeling to those body parts, and when you eat it, you are also eating pain. So non-vegetarian means I'm eating pain of other living entity. So this is also a non-vegetarian exercise by not forgiving, because I'm going to be eating some of his pain also. So I don't want to be connected to that. You keep it. I don't need it. You handle it. Good. You gave me this. Fine. I'm going to deal with it. Why should I waste my time trying to think I'm so bad and helpless, or I'm so poor, or I'm so faulty? Whatever I did, I did. Okay. That was my karma, but not out of helplessness. With this understanding, you change the helplessness, because usually if you say, oh, it was my karma only, it is the resentment, helplessness, and then depression. That's the sequence. But if you work with the understanding that it was my karma, they have delivered, I also have the capacity to fix it. To whatever extent it's fixable. It's not that it is infinitely fixable. I may have some consequences to deal with. Fine. Govind Maharaj, my spiritual master, used to said this in front of me. In fact, we got news when I was in Navadvip that one of the devotees was in jail. So he said, okay. So then they asked, what will happen to his spiritual life? He says, nothing. He can be in jail and still be spiritual. What is the problem? So he can be Krishna conscious there also. Why does that have to, any material event, why does that have to have anything to do with your spiritual internal activity? So you can be in jail, you can be anywhere and still be Krishna conscious. If you are not, then that's a different story, which is when you are in ignorance and passion, then you are not likely to be Krishna conscious when that happens to you. You will say, I don't believe in it, I give up, I declare that Krishna is not God, and so on and so forth. You can keep declaring, who are you? You are not God. So you can't declare these things. So it is difficult for somebody to understand unless they've been through a process of education. So spiritual education is very important, and also being connected to the healing energies. If you are not connected to the Brahminical energies, you are in trouble. Whether you call it Brahminical energy or you call it Reiki energy, the meaning is exactly the same, universal life force energy. So if you are not connected to that, you have great difficulty in understanding. Then you are more in the mode of passion and ignorance, and you fall down to the level of saying, okay, let me, I don't know any of this, let me go to Devi, let me go to Ganesha, let me go to Lord Shiva, let me go to this demigod, let me go to that demigod. So then you're running around between Devis, Lord Shiva. Basically that one family has the franchise for the material universe. Lord Shiva is the destroyer. His son, one of his sons, is the chieftain of the army of the demigods, Kartikeya. And Lord Ganesh is the master of the ganas of all the people in your root chakra. The portal of your destiny is sitting at the base of your spine. And Devi is his wife. One of the Devis is his wife. All the material manifestations are coming from there. Durga Devi is Lord Shiva's wife. So she's the prison keeper. She's the guard of the prison. So you're in Tihar jail, basically. Understand that. And to get out of Tihar jail, it doesn't mean I make it a very nice air-conditioned place and very neat and clean. Yesterday, Sabrina was telling us that on her visit to Tihar, what a spick and span and fantastic place. It was like better than any industrial factory that they were making things, and everything was beautifully done and the products were great. You don't have to make your jail so good. The point is to get out of the jail. So you can make your jail look very nice. You can have a good time in your jail in that sense. But you're still in jail. No matter how posh your jail is. So ultimately you have to get out. That is happening only through this spiritual process and chanting the Maha Mantra, getting connected to the Brahminical energies, whether of In the traditional Brahminical tradition or any other, or like Reiki, that's the way to go.
Sanghatam has a couple of questions.
Yes.
Respected Master, what is the point of liberation when at the end of universe a liberated soul needs to start the journey again with non-liberated soul? Then he goes on to ask, if we have forgiven someone but others have not, then is that also counted as one's karmic debt?
Liberated soul doesn't have to come back. Krishna made it very clear earlier on. A person who is liberated, he doesn't have to come back. So I don't know where you're getting this from. So if you're fully liberated, you're not coming back. It may be that till your body is ending, if you're liberated at the end of your body, then you will not come back. And the second question was that if you're
we
not...
have forgiven someone but others have not, then is that also counted as one's karmic?
Others have not. How is the others reflecting on you? They don't. You may have forgiven someone, and if the others, or there are other people who have not forgiven, that's their lookout. They are going to carry the pain. Please understand that unforgiveness and pain go together, as they are kind of a pair. Unforgiveness and pain. If you don't forgive, then you always have the pain, and it stops you from moving forward in your life. So if you want to move forward beyond that and you want to achieve something, then forgiveness is necessary, and starting with yourself. So you have to forgive yourself for being in that position of having received the pain. So people say it is my karma only, very bad, I have very bad karma. So, and then means you're judging and blaming yourself. So that also is not required. So no requirement of blaming yourself, no requirement of judging yourself. Then you can forgive yourself. And when you are able to forgive yourself truly, then only you can truly forgive another. And the symptom of that is that whenever you think of that person, or you see that person, or you think of that event, it is emotionally neutral for you. Where there is no emotionally neutral, that means you still need some work. So work on healing that. So if other people, you probably mean other people in your family or group who have been affected by this are not forgiving. They are in pain, so you have to send healing, that they have to forgive themselves. That is the critical point. So in all cases of pain coming from bad events where forgiveness is not happening, or letting go of that is not happening, because you're holding on to these burning toxic energies. So the obstacle point, the sticky point is that the person is not able to forgive himself for being in such a position of receiving such a bad result or a painful result. So this is something you need to understand, that we don't forgive ourselves because, why were we here? Why did we get placed here? And immediately the mind goes off and blames others for being placed there, that they placed you. I didn't choose to be born in this family. Your rotten genes are running through me. I hate the concept, I give up my body just to get rid of your genes. I've heard people talk like this. Have you? You have also? Yeah.
So one is action oriented, then one is moving from that point, and then one.
No, what
action?
What action? Action oriented means what? You have to be acting in the mode of goodness. This is also action, but more in the mode of goodness.
When they were forgiving someone, I was forgiving someone, what I noticed was this part which he is talking about is also that, I got caught
Yes.
in this position. So my image now, I wish that they have a better image of me. Basically, that was my problem when I did the forgiving. Suddenly I saw, they were not responding in the way I would like them to, because now the great has decided that I've forgiven myself.
Yeah, so that is
But I had an image which I wanted them all to, have of me, of that good person. So that's what bothers us after some time.
Because you have the false ego that time saying ki I have done such a great and noble thing.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Maaf kiya.
A little bit of self-satisfaction.
No, okay, I am so magnanimous. You are a wrestler lying on the floor, the fellow's on top of you, pinned. You still try and put one leg on top of him, Yeah, I am still on top of you, man. Yeah. I'm winning. So that is coming from the false ego. Yes. That I am still wanting to be in a upright position. Although I want to be the best. I am such a great person because maaf kiya.
It's not easy, it doesn't happen easily. So little bit of self-satisfaction, one can feel.
But the thing is, that's all in the mode of ignorance, and that still maintains pain.
Yes.
Because internally thinking, I had to say that. Although I didn't really mean it. If I get a chance, I'd like to shoot the guy. So that's not the healing. Yeah.
I raise both my hands on that.
Yeah. And then we devise all kinds of plans how to kill them. So do that in the DRL. We have given you a safe outlet, but there are a lot of people I know who don't want to take that option. They want to, have the acid burn inside. Well, they don't want to let go of that also because they feel that they'll lose out if they're not blaming the other person. Basically, what blaming others does is to avoid taking responsibility on yourself. So you're shifting. So you need to get back onto understanding that you are responsible for taking action in the present moment. Now, whatever package that has come to you because of your previous karma, you have many options how to deal with that package. You have the options of opening the package or not even opening it. Or after opening it, then there's a variety of actions that you can take. So don't take the gut reaction. The gut reaction is the one which gets you into trouble. That is your default setting for karma. Is the instant reactivity that comes. So mode of goodness is going to think about it, take a few deep breaths, chant Hare Krishna, center yourself, calm down, and then say, okay, buy time. Okay, I will look into it. You don't have to give a response right now. Unless, of course, it's an emergency. Somebody is attacking you physically, then that's a different thing. But self-defense of the ego is not the way to go usually. I would say not the way to go at all. Yeah, not even usually. Do not, because your ego is trying to remain superior. So you should fire your ego. Get out.
So this was happening also because I was the youngest one and I would say things and nobody would listen to me because even if it was right. And eventually when I came back and said, see, I was telling you, I was right for so many years I was telling you and you never listened to me. So, that was another block because that's such a waste of time also.
Well,
just prove yourself right in
if
yourself amongst the 21 family members that see I was right, I told you and you didn't listen to me.
If somebody doesn't want to be educated, you cannot educate them.
I had to learn the
hard way.
way.
Yeah. So the thing is, it is always as I told you so. It was not I was right. You said I told you so. I was right. I told you so. That's exactly what would happen. See what a genius I am. See how brilliant.
Each time one has taken time, like you said, take time off and think about it. Each time I have taken time, I have never done what I initially thought of doing.
Right. Because the initial reaction is kill, murder, destroy.
So I used to say this many years back. He told us when, as a family, if Pankaj and me ever got together to decide something, he said, so I used to say, buy time. Don't decide immediately if there's confusion, anger.
Yeah, it's better to postpone if you're not sure. Always. But endless postponement doesn't work also. You have to manage this, understand this in the perspective and the context in which it is being done. The context is very important.
Shipra Singh, grateful sir. Amazing analogies of wrestler eating non-veg through pain and Tihar jail. I remember these. Grateful.
Okay. Good. So we hope you don't have to go there, but it's good to keep that in mind. Okay, so we can conclude here.
If the Lord is in our heart, talking to Him.
As long as others don't hear you talking to Him, it's all right. So that's very scary to find somebody talking to themselves.
So many years back, I have written here that this is my Shloka. Actually, I have always said
Which
this. Yeah, this
Which
is my
shloka?
slope. I always say this 15 is mine because when it was all difficult for me in life, then so this is what I used to keep reading and
Okay, it is,
that
it is,
he'll come back, he will give me one day that
Right.
what I was looking for.
Okay.
And I have to admit that the pain was very excruciating then. I believed in it much more as time passed, and then I think now when I see it, I feel I have experienced it.
Is it, or you have become now used to the pain?
No, I'm now on observation for 2-3 years now. It's going
Okay.
on, and I'm observing and I see. Because I said, sir, sometimes I don't know I'm going through that because, as I said, it becomes part of my nature.
Right.
So by your grace, really, I'm seeing a lot more things than I think I saw when I came.
Okay.
So I see a
Great.
whole lot of things now. The humor part is really very enhanced because I see myself. Oh God, it was so amusing. But at that time it wasn't. It was very
Yes, difficult.
So I would remember this statement that if you are in my heart, I'm sure you're going to listen to me because this is the last resort. I have
He's
nothing.
listening to everything, but by when you say I'm going to listen to me, that implies that he's going to deliver what you want. So that is not happening necessarily. You can keep asking. You have the right to ask. You don't have the right to expect. You don't have the right to expect it.
So when somebody is in pain, it's not that they feel that it's somebody else's. They are blaming somebody that.
No, which pain are you talking about? Now, be very specific. Pain is of various kinds. What is your reference?
So when you are not forgiving,
You're talking about unforgiving and blaming and the pain that comes from that. Okay.
so if a person is perpetually, like if a person is chronically depressed,
Right.
then they are outwardly many times saying, "You're the reason for this," or "You're the cause of this." But they are actually in pain, not in pain because of us. They're in pain because
They are not.
that situation.
They are blaming themselves. That their destiny is so bad. Basically, it boils down to this. People who are depressed are always will end up telling you somewhere that their destiny is very bad. Their life is very bad. That they must have done something very bad to experience this. Which means they are not forgiving themselves. That is the symptom. And at the next level, if they don't do that, but they are constantly depressed and they are blaming others, it means that same thing, they have not forgiven themselves for being placed in such a position. They feel helpless. They are feeling helpless being placed in such a position.
So, what is the healing that one should say?
That they are no longer in pain. You first insert an anesthetic in between them and their pain, that they don't feel it. You do that through the healing. And then just by affirming that and empowering that affirmation that they are no longer connected to that pain. Pain may be there, but first disconnect them. Second, you work on getting rid of that pain and putting another thought in their head instead, that they are actually not to blame themselves. First, stop blaming yourself. First of all. If you continue to blame yourself, then you do not see anything as an option for you to do to rectify the situation. So you must first stop the blaming, because that colors your whole horizon. It's terrible, nothing can work, it's not going to happen, I know it won't happen, so I don't even try. So all those things you have to get rid of. So you have to say that they have to stop connecting to those energies and instead connect to the energies that they can actually do something about it. And the biggest thing is to stop blaming yourself. They may not even know that they're blaming themselves, but their language, their speech will tell you, their words will tell you that they're actually blaming themselves. So what are those words like? These only. I'm so stupid, I'm so foolish, it is my bad luck, it is my bad karma, all those things. All those are self-blame.
Today the stars are so bad.
Yeah, the stars are so bad, what can I do, I am just stuck in this position. If my next fellow stars are better, I wish I had his stars.
Yes, that is very
I know. So I should have his balance sheet. I'll steal from him. then you get into more trouble. So this is ignorance. Complete ignorance. So a depression means I'm in ignorance. Okay? Alright then. We will conclude at the 15th text of chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Right, we'll see you next week then. Have a good weekend and a good week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Bhagavad Gita for All, a lecture series by Nalan Narula. Chapter 15, The Yoga of the Supreme Person. Explore our website, gettingpositivekarmanow.com, for more on how to change your karma and destiny.